Sorry. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, a few little technical glitches here. Alors on va de temps en temps ajouter un peu de français. I ask for your forbearance from any anglophones or francophones because this is going to be somewhat bilingual. Bismillah. So marriage is an extremely important topic. As we know, the modern world is very perturbed, disturbed, and agitated about the whole question of relationships. Il y a toutes sortes de relations maintenant. We know young people now, they're friends, they're dating, they're seeing each other, their relationships on Facebook, they're moving in together, having children, doing mortgages, everything together, often everything but marriage. Au Québec, il y a le plus haut taux de cohabitation, de non-mariage dans toute l'Amérique du Nord, peut-être avec l'Europe aussi. So it's become very popular not to be married. I, however, as I mentioned last time, had a very strong experience early on in my spiritual journey with a teacher whose name was Bawa Muhayyiddin, or also known as Guru Bawa. You can look him up if you want on the internet. Un guru super puissant, very strong energy, very strong, the Hindus call it Shakti, Kudarat if you want. And the first time I met him, he looked at me, knowing that I was confused about this issue, and he said, my son Ibrahim, I was much younger, but even now he would be older than me, he was about 90, some people said 100, and he looked at me and he said, my son Ibrahim, and marriage is from the order of Allah. And it hit me, it was very strong. I was walking around in a daze for a couple of days afterwards, really blissed out, charged up, like my finger was in a 550 volt circuit, and I had trouble getting my bearings. So I got worried, and I went back to him and I said, Baba, what's going on? I can't do anything. What have you done? He said, he started laughing. Ce guru-là, il riait, il dit, fais-toi-en pas, don't worry. Once you get married, everything's going to be all right. And that freaked me out even more. Mais là, j'étais vraiment énervé. Une fois que je suis marié, ça va être 6 mois, je vais être non fonctionnel complètement. But the minute he said it, I came back to ground. I was like he grounded me, and everything suddenly was normal. And he looked at me with a little smile at the side of his Sri Lankan small face, and he looked at me and said, everything's okay, don't worry. But the message remained. Marriage is from the order of Allah. And this is true in all the traditions. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever. All traditions put emphasis on marriage. Just the modern world has tried to change the idea and make it more user-friendly, if you want. Probably to the disadvantage of everyone involved. The Catholics in Quebec used to say, very truly, they used to say, and God is the third person in the relationship once you have marriage. The bride, the groom, and Allah, God. Alhamdulillah. And you need Him. Honestly, having been married more than once, you need Allah if you're going to survive in the marriage. Other people in the room know what I'm talking about. So, Allah is the glue that holds it together or allows you to separate in peace as He recommends in our holy book. I'm in the process of consulting people all across the world whose husbands won't let them live in peace and are intimidating them and threatening them and abusing them in many ways and numerous of these people are Muslims, but they don't listen to the holy book. They listen to their nafs. And marriage is the biggest test you can have for your nafs. People used to ask me and say, "Oh, Sheikh Nazim," when I was with Sheikh Nazim, he always says positive. Et que notre chef du temps, il dit toujours du positif. Comment ça? Parce que j'avais d'expérience. J'ai dit, c'est simple, it's easy. First he marries you, and he has all the negative covered. Then he can say whatever positive he wants, because your wife or your husband will tell you everything negative about you, unfortunately. Or fortunately. So last marriage rather, wasn't last week, we covered the outer aspects of marriage. This time I wanted to talk, Assalamu alaikum, about the inner aspects of marriage. Okay, so the outer aspects of marriage were the maher and the contract and the wali and the spoken contract, all of these outer aspects of marriage. And this time I wanted to speak about the inner aspects of marriage and of relationship in general. So what is the most important word connected with marriage? I'm going to put this out to the audience. This is an easy question. What is the word that's most often connected with marriage?
Love.
Love. Oh no, that's how it should be. Okay. Love. Et la culture française va même un peu plus loin. L'amour, c'est une religion pour les francophones. Quand deux personnes francophones discutent, peut-être je vais me séparer, l'autre va dire tout de suite, es-tu toujours en amour ou pas? Es-tu encore amoureux? Et sinon, c'est fini. So, oui.
Peace and tranquility.
Peace and tranquility. We're going to get to that. That's the way it should be. Okay? Now we're talking about the way some people think it should be. Okay, so this is the L word. Okay? We know we have the C word, the F word, all these bad words, the A word. This is the L word. Love. You see, even the baby understands. Alhamdulillah. The L word. Between mothers and children, it's much less problematic because it's genetic, it's biological. Between husbands and wives, it's two egos having to deal with each other. And it's often very difficult. Now, why did I start wondering about this word love? Okay, this is a reference, a French reference. I don't know how many of you knew it, but there used to be a newspaper in Quebec, it's gone now, called Allo Police. Anyone knew Allo Police? No. Okay, not enough Québécois de souche here. So Allo Police was one of the worst tabloids that was published here, and they loved stories about spouses killing each other. Okay, so every day, every edition had another story about a husband, usually a husband, could be a wife, but usually it's a husband. Lately in the United States we've had a couple of wives, but generally it's husbands killing their ex-spouse. Okay. Spécial, les maris, les époux, qui tuaient leur partenaire. Et inévitablement, chaque fois, what did they say? But I loved her. I still love her. But he killed her. People say, in Arabic they say, Ajib. It's amazing. How could he love her and kill her? But that's what the love, especially when it's unsatisfied, when it's rejected, when it's denied. This baby gets it all. Elle comprend tout, là. Tu vois? Quand on parle d'amour, elle sourit. Quand on parle du rejet et de haine, elle pleure. Elle est connectée, alhamdulillah. Voici là, la connexion. The babies get it. Us, with our intelligence, there's a lot of things we don't get. So, if we look at the French culture, it's very interesting. I think Allah put me here for a reason. Because the French are fascinated by love. and they even have sayings that are connected with it. So one of the favorite sayings, my clients love this one, is le cœur a ses raisons que la raison ne connaît point.
Ignore.
Yeah, or ignore, ou ne connaît point, ou ne connaît pas. There's a few variations. You heard it? Anyone else heard it? It's not too common in the anglophones don't know this, but this is an excuse to do almost anything. Le cœur m'a dit. Le cœur l'avait aussi dit de la poignarder, mais c'est une autre affaire. So whenever I'd hear this, it would rub me a bit the wrong way. Le cœur a ses raisons que la raison ne connaît point. So eventually I added into it. Et le cœur a sa folie que la sagesse doit gérer ou contrôler. So the heart, in this saying, says the heart has its own reasons that reason cannot understand. And I add, but the heart also has its own craziness, its insanity, that wisdom has to manage, control. Otherwise, yeah, okay, and now the wisdom gets an eye. This baby is a future wali. Alhamdulillah, this baby is connected, mashallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. What did they used to say with Sheikh Nan? Muhakkak.
Yeah,
Muhakkak. This is he met a muhakkak. This is true. Alhamdulillah, someone recognized it. Sometimes I feel unrecognized. Okay, so one of the ways that marriage and relationship goes wrong is that people start criticizing each other too much. And Gottman, the big expert in this field, says that that's the second most common way that marriages are destroyed, by criticism. C'est la critique qui tue l'amour. Mais il y a quelque chose encore plus puissant comme force destructrice que la critique. Anyone want to take a guess? Quoi?
Mépris.
Mépris. She's reading the books.
Yes.
Contempt. Contempt is the worst destroyer of relationship. And Gottman and his research team say that if they see contempt on their first interview with a couple, and this contempt can be subtle, they can predict within 95% of chance there will be a divorce. Okay? So, by all means, you have to avoid contempt. Okay? You need respect. Okay. Bonjour. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Now, one of my, and I'm not going to give you too many personal details because I don't want people to get hurt if this goes onto YouTube and goes viral, but one of my first teachers, my parents, may their souls be in peace, were not very adept at teaching about these kind of things, the subtle parts of life. So they were loving to me, but they weren't very adept at teaching any of this. So my first teacher was actually a high school buddy. I won't name him because he's a well-known figure in some parts of Canada. But he was the first in our group to have a girlfriend. Okay? And all his friends were critical of his girlfriend. Okay? They didn't think she was up to the standard, They didn't think she was this enough or that enough. She was a very quiet, subdued person. She wasn't by our standards of Marilyn Monroe at that time. She didn't fit that, and everyone was, criticizing him, needling him. Tout le monde le pointait au sujet de his girlfriend. And he said, in a beautiful defense, he said, "You guys, vous autres, vous comprenez pas. You don't understand," he said. "When you love a woman, you love all her faults as well." I thought that was very, and physical or psychological, because no one is without faults. And so if you're going to love someone, you're going to have to embrace those faults and accept those faults, and ultimately that is going to be more important than that initial passionate love. The acceptance, embracing difference, embracing individuality, embracing choice. The Quran, and Lois was pointing out essentially what you were saying from the Quran. The Quran uses an Arabic word to describe how relationships should be. And this is a very deep word. If you look in the dictionary, you'll find hundreds of words that translate this word. It comes from the Arabic root sakana, yaskun. And Allah is telling people that what He wants for them is for them to live in, I was looking at my Hans Weir, to be still, to be tranquil, to be in repose, to be peaceful together. This is the most important thing. Now, I had many discussions with my shuyukh over the years about marriage, besides the first one that I mentioned. And the last one I had was with Sheikh Abu Qasim, and we went back and forth about issues of age and issues of culture and issues of class and issues of religion. And ultimately he said, he was a very succinct person, he said, what's really important, this is the way the French translation came back anyway, is because it was said in colloquial Arabic, what's really important is that it works. That the two people can be together in this sakana, in this yaskun, in this repose and peace. That's really what's most important. Interestingly enough, Gottman, the scientist, says the same thing in another way. He says the basis of a real marriage is strong friendship. La base, c'est une amitié profonde. C'est ça qui va maintenir le mariage. Pas la passion initiale, parce que normalement, ça passe dans le temps, c'est normal. Mais c'est l'amitié profonde qui se développe entre les deux personnes. En français, il y a un beau mot aussi, la complicité. I like that word. We don't really have anything quite the same in English. It's a kind of synergism, if you want, between the two partners. They're complementary. Now, so coming back to the L word, we have to change the L word, the love word, to the C word, not the nasty C word, compassion. Every ayat in the Quran starts with compassion. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Doesn't start with Al-Hub or Habib, like in Arabic, a lot of people say, Habibi, Habibi, Habibi. No, it starts with Rahman and Rahim. Not only from Allah to us, that's a given. Not only from the mother to her child, that's a given in 99% of cases, but between people. Having compassion, having Rahman, having Rahim is more important than love. As I was thinking about this subject, I was thinking, what are the other things? I'm going to tell a little story here, and I hope people shouldn't be offended, although it refers to a particular nation, but I think you'll understand it, where it applies. Another thing that destroys relationship is controllingness. We call it micromanaging your partner. Do this, why didn't you do the dishes? Why did you leave your socks on the floor? You're never doing this, you're never doing that. Controlling, which is close to criticizing. Okay, you're not allowed to go there, you're not allowed to travel, all these kind of things. Well, the story, and people will have to forgive me, but I think we can understand things by describing, and Sheikh Nazim was very good at different nations. So I'm going to tell you a story about a Moroccan patient I had. Now, it's a Moroccan, aussi? Okay, vous allez comprendre, sûrement. And it's very rare that I've had Arab men who want to do therapy. But this guy was a good patient. He really wanted to understand himself. And we did a very nice therapy. And at the end of it, he was ready to get married. So, Monsieur Marocain. And I said, oh, okay, mais cherchez-en. Il dit, il y a une chose. I still remember. Il y a une chose. Jamais je me marierai avec une Marocaine. I said, what's the matter with Moroccans? I said, they're ladies, they're lovely, they're intelligent, they're cultured. He said, non, jamais. I said, pourquoi jamais? Parce qu'elles sont toutes des maniganceuses. Okay. He said, all Moroccan women are manipulators, sneaky, and so I thought to myself, now most people raised as liberals, right away their hackles get up and they say, this is racial stereotyping, this is foolishness, you shouldn't say this is terrible, this is, now we can call it Trumpishness, Trump with the Mexican. But I don't have that reaction. I start thinking, well, what's he saying here? What's he saying here? And then I started to have more and more experience in the Arab world, and I clicked, why is this happening? Let's assume there's some truth to it, even if it's small. There's plenty of manipulative women in all cultures, there's plenty of manipulative men. What is going on here? And I concluded that in any culture, if the men are too controlling, the women are going to become manipulative and sneaky. They have to. It's the only way to survive. And in some of these groups that I found myself becoming somewhat, I'm one of these people, say the truth, no BS, give it straight. Found myself becoming un peu plus insidieux, to deal with rigidity and controllingness. And this is a big problem, actually, in the Muslim world, especially for men, and they use the religious justification to try to control their wives. And it's really pathological. It's not healthy. It's not good for their relationship. And Allah is not asking them to watch every step of where are you going and why did you go there and why are you speaking with this one. And this is very unhealthy. And you're encouraging then the women to become liars and sneaks and manipulators just to avoid your control, because they have a right to liberty and they have a right to choice. C'est Allah qui nous donne notre libre arbitre, notre volonté. Ni le mari, ni la femme. And there are controlling women also, of course. Nagging women, criticizing women. These are, Gottman calls them, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. They destroy marriages. So I'm saying to our newlyweds, this is something you have to avoid. You have to leave the other one free to go about their lives, to follow their dreams, of course, within l'encadrement, within the context of the divine law, but not trying to control every piece of it. There's nothing in the Quran that says that, for example, the husband has to do the dishes perfectly or he hasn't done his duty, and vice versa. We need flexibility. We need openness. We need acceptance. Okay, so if we do it all right, then inshallah, the love, the acceptance, the compassion grows. And if we get it wrong, it starts to become more and more tense and strained. I go to restaurants sometimes, in the West Island especially, and I can see 70-year-olds still bickering. I had some aunts like that, with their husband, still bickering at 70 years old. You didn't treat the waitress right. You should be nicer to her. Why are you so... In public. Here. This probably happens less in the Arab countries. They still have some notion of adab. But here, no. Still arguing at 70, 75 years old. I had an aunt. Her husband was they lived in New York. He was very nasty with her. And eventually he died. And when he died, she had a depression. And you would think, you should be relieved, he's gone. You were complaining about him. No, she was very depressed because it's unhealthy. And then she felt guilt for all the anger she had accumulated about all the criticism. So this is not the way to go. Compassion, patience, acceptance of Rahman, Sabr, Rida, for Arabic references. This is what we need. And marriage will be your severest test for your patience and your acceptance. It's almost guaranteed, that it's going to be the most difficult test. Sheikh knew, he was not always very realistic, said that it would take usually about 1 or 2 years for the nafs to get adjusted. Some people, maybe it happens quickly. Some people, it never happens. But this is the jihad al-nafs, and the jihad al-nafs is a big spiritual practice. Okay. Are there any, I think I've covered the points I wanted to make. Any questions here? Any comments? Okay.